generally be confused. Why am I saying this? Well, there's something else, for example, that you might have noticed. You might have noticed that in one of Dane Calloway's videos, he actually plays a video. This is hilarious. So now you got to see this one. He plays a video that purports to be a white news person actually agreeing that African Americans were Native Americans. Listen to this piece and then we'll describe it.
Hello, I'm William Attlee and this is a news brief with truth. See the men on the screen. They are the ancestors of the African American, but there is a problem. Their true identity. Thomas McNeely has the story.
Well, William, the African American community is deeply divided due to the tagline, African Americans ain't Africans, which can be found in numerous places on the web. Now, it should be obvious as to why it's causing a commotion, but if it escapes you, let me explain. The current American education states African Americans were brought to America as slaves from Africa, which is simply not true. They are American indigenous, not descendants of Africans. As they say, the truth is stranger than fiction. Although this fact isn't spoken of openly, it's not a secret. However, with programming such as Roots, 12 Years a Slave, The African American Story, and the Book of Negroes, is it any wonder why so many African Americans are confused? We won't address all the misleading DNA tests being provided to connect African Americans to Africa.
Now, family, is he trying to tell you that you should believe him because it was mouthed by a Tomhu? Because it was mouthed by a European? This is manipulative. But let's go further, because I'm actually embarrassed that some of you did not notice this. Some of you who are confused by this must never watch the news. Did you notice you don't see a channel marker? A station marker? It says breaking news, but clearly what he's describing is not breaking news. Who's Thomas McNeely? What outfit do they work for? Did you notice that everything was in a really bizarre green screen? Did you notice that? You should have known that something was wrong with this. But many of you in the Aboriginal community were absolutely surprised by it. Just look at the responses in the video below. By the way, Wake Up Indigenous Niji took this section of the video and actually titled it White News Media confirms Dane Calloway's research is correct. And he actually seems to show the video from a cell phone. So it's really, really strangely clipped. Well, I'm going to say to you that I spent a lot of time trying to run this down, because I knew that there was something wrong with it. I searched for the person's name, couldn't find anything. By the way, if he was a news reporter, why is it that we can't find his name? I also noticed that in the news report, it was curious that he was making this really, really outlandish claim, but he had no statistics. He didn't give any source for his information. He didn't explain why this is true. He just said it's true, that everyone knows. That this is some kind of fact that people are aware of, but that things that show Africans and enslaved people have misled people. That was really bizarre for a news report. Well, I cannot take credit for figuring out where it came from. I'm going to say to you that I have spent a lot of time disagreeing with this brother. And I know that Sonetta has even had his tiffs with this particular brother. But the person who figured out where this came from is Javen Bullets. He's the one that figured it out. And he needs to, while he and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, he needs to be given credit for the fact that he discovered it. He realized that the person that was making these claims is actually someone that is known as Voice Over Pete. So who is Voice Over Pete? Before I tell you that, why don't you look at another one of the videos that Voice Over Pete has actually done? Because this will help you understand who he is and what he does for a living.
Are you looking for a dynamic spokesperson for your service or product? Hello, I'm Pete, and I know I can help. No matter what the length of your script is, I'll produce it. Just imagine me promoting your website, blog, training materials, advertisements, services, products, much the same way I'm speaking with you now. As a spokesperson is an excellent way to communicate, instruct, sell, promote, entertain, motivate your audience to take action. Now let's add some value and impact. We can change the background image, outside, luxury, professional, relaxing, informal. What about a change in music, which makes a world of difference? Would you like to see your logo or text? How about some images displayed to increase your audience interest and raise the impact value? Go ahead, preview some of my other samples, and then contact me. And let's get started on making your video today wildly successful. Thank you so much.
Please understand that VoiceOver Pete is on a website called Fiverr. What is Fiverr? Fiverr is a website where you can pay people to do things for you. And it actually starts at $5. So if you pay him...
Bobby, I got one done.
Of course you have.
White woman, when she said, come to Sun on the TV, I paid one.
Well, I'm going to tell you that that's what they did. And many of you in the Aboriginal community are celebrating this like this is some sort of amazing find. Like, so instead, you are acting like Dane Calloway has done some sort of intrepid reporting. Like you should have recognized that this was not scholarship, it was not news reporting, and it was not research. It was in fact someone who was paid to mouth the words that someone wants him to mouth. Javen Bullets actually believes that it might have come from a Moorish source. But I would not put it past Dane Calloway to have paid for this himself. Why didn't he tell you where he got it from? With this kind of manipulative action, you should question almost everything he says. Why don't you ask him where he got it from? As you ask him why he believes that 98% of African Americans are in fact Native Americans. And actually look at Wake Up Indigenous Niji and say, well, obviously you can't tell a promo from a Fiverr voiceover actor from a news report. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And what you should do is you should issue an apology for misleading your own people. He says that he's Thomas McNeely. His name is not Thomas McNeely. His name is Pete. He's playing a role. That's what he's doing. So you see the news report, but there's no identifiable information in the news report. That's why people who are not familiar with the news are confused. Family, you've at least watched the news on your local TV channels, right? Doesn't it look radically different than this piece here? Everything is in green screen. We don't even see which news outlet this is from. And it says breaking news, and it's clearly not breaking news. Clearly, there are some things that are wrong with this. So for those of you who are confused about it, you really need to recognize that you are not confused because there's something wrong with you. You're confused because a shyster is manipulating you. Hold him accountable.
Let him know, just like we already
Hold him accountable.
We busted him, plagiarizing.
I'm going there. I'm not even finished yet. So we took a video and he used it inappropriately. Surprise, surprise. Why has he not responded to that? Let's go further. Question number 2. You've told us that 98% of all African Americans are Native American, and you've even claimed to help many African Americans actually discover their native lineage.